Hey dudes, Sylvite Soltis here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. After finishing and seeing the great reception of my top 5 classic WoW dungeons video, I thought it would be fun to do another top 5 post regarding Classic World of Warcraft. And after contemplating some different ideas and reflecting on my own experiences from back in 2005 to 2006, I decided on a topic that I think everyone will find interesting, as well as debatable. So, strap yourselves in, because today we are going to be traveling across the world of Warcraft to visit my favorite zones. Keep in mind that as I almost exclusively played Alliance from vanilla through Wrath of the Lich King, my picks are very much skewed in that direction. However, I will be maining Horde come WoW Classic, so when that time comes, I may create an updated list to reflect any changes in my opinion. But with that out of the way, here are my picks for the top 5 World of Warcraft Classic zones. Number 5. Elwyn Forest. Probably not too surprising for anyone that started the game with a human character, Elwyn Forest holds a lot of nostalgia for me from way back in the day. Most of my earliest memories, and lots of my later ones too, are from this zone. And of course, that soundtrack really added to the foresty aesthetic of the zone. As mentioned in the first 2 installments of my Memories of Vanilla series, it took me a while to finish the zone back in the day, since I could only play at a friend's house when I went over there in the summer of 2005. Because of this, I spent a lot of time getting to know every bit of this zone, inside and out, exploring the caves, finding treasure chests, and getting destroyed by boars and murlocs. But I think it's partially because of these immersive experiences in Elwyn that I really got hooked on the game in the first place. Sure, Elwyn Forest is cliché and gets raved about a lot by everyone and their mother, but I think it's for good reason. It's a wonderful zone and a great introduction for new players to start their World of Warcraft adventure. Number 4. Duskwood. Where to begin? Duskwood is by far the creepiest zone an Alliance player will zone into before getting to the Plaguelands and Felwood later on. Sure, Tirisfal Glades and Silverpine have their own share of creepiness, but those are zones meant for the Forsaken, really. For a human to encounter the undead under the shadow of a cursed land, it was much more unsettling to find this land just south of the bright and cheery Elwyn Forest. The first time I discovered this place, I was met with level !?! spiders that attempted to eat my face as I fled back across the river. When I finally returned at the proper level, however, I was greeted with a plethora of fun and interesting quests, as well as a giant abomination that did eat my face as I unsuccessfully tried to run away. See my Memories of Vanilla episode 5 for that story. I have so many memories of this cursed land and its engaging quests to uncover the secrets of Ravenhill Cemetery, the Dark Riders and the Worgen Curse, and just what Abercrombie was up to out at that shack. Plus, the dim lighting and creepy music added another element of immersion as I quested through the zone, making me feel uneasy every step of the way. For those reasons, I believe that Duskwood has a solid place at number 4. Number 3. Winterspring. Winterspring is an absolute delight of a zone, in my opinion. Personally, I love cold weather and everything about the winter season, so a zone in World of Warcraft that is always wintry was always going to be ranked highly on my list. Add into the mix the good amount of questing provided by Everlook, the potential to grind out Timbermaw reputation in the Furbolg camps of the zone, and the simple fact that you could potentially ding level 60 here, depending on how you chose to finish the 58 to 60 grind, and you've got a solid classic World of Warcraft zone. Furthermore, Winterspring utilizes one of the best soundtracks in-game in my opinion. Listening to it while running along the road from Everlook to wherever you're questing really adds to the snowy atmosphere. And it's so memorable, in fact, that when I first heard a clip of it used by Bellular in his end screens on YouTube, I knew immediately where it was from. A wonderful song for a wonderful zone. Winterspring is one of those zones that you travel back and forth to a lot, due to quests in Tenaris, Ungoro Crater, and even for the Onyxia attunement, on the Alliance side at least. Sure, some might not like the quests where you have to fly back and forth from place to place for 20 plus minutes just to talk to some dude, but to me, this was part of the entire vanilla experience. And with Winterspring, you definitely experienced this. For all of these reasons, it is definitely my number 3. Number 2. Tenaris. There are many zones that are completely unavoidable when leveling in Classic World of Warcraft, due to the lack of quests and quest hubs. Stranglethorn, Eastern Plaguelands, and Arathi Highlands to name a few. However, Tenaris holds a special place in my heart. Running into Gadgetzan, trying to avoid the PvP battles occurring just out of sight of the guards, is an experience that everyone, regardless of their server, had back in the day. Plus, once you got into Gadgetzan, you were met with more quests than you'd probably ever imagined up until that point. Within 2 minutes of entering the zone, you would probably have more to do than you'd had for 10 levels at that point, assuming that you'd arrived at the appropriate level, of course. And once you've collected all of those quests, it's time to venture out into the desert. Tenaris was massive in scope, if simple in design. But the enemies and quests there were interesting, varied, and memorable. From the Waste Wander bandits just southeast of town, to the trolls out to the west, to the Karaji in the south, to the robot chicken escort quest in the mountains, there was always something new here, something to find and discover. But even with the variety of mobs and quests, nothing really felt out of place. It was a really smooth experience from what I can recall. Plus, you also had one of the best dungeons in the game, Zul'Farrak, just a short run away from town. What's not to love? But the one thing that I think really sold me on the zone more than anything else is the soundtrack and the ambience. Seriously, just listen. It sounds just like a desert, complete with sandy winds and stereotypical ancient Egyptian vibes. So as long as you quested in this zone, you really felt like you were lost in the desert. And it was amazing. For all of these reasons, I can honestly put Tenaris up at my number 2. There's one zone, however, that I believe is far greater than the rest. One that had basically no competition in my mind from the get-go. But before we get to that, here are a few more zones that I feel deserve at least an honorable mention. Number 1. Stranglethorn Vale. Okay, I honestly don't expect people to be surprised too much, but Stranglethorn Vale is definitely the most iconic zone of original World of Warcraft in my opinion. Similar to how Skull-Immense was an easy number 1 for my top dungeon pick, STV was the first place that came to mind when I thought of making a top 5 zones video. First and foremost, this zone is absolutely massive. It takes a good 15 minutes or more to run straight down from the northernmost point all the way down to Booty Bay along the road, back before you got a mount, that is. And there was enough space to put in a ton of mobs, quests, and secrets along the way. And with that huge scale of the zone, you can be sure that they put in a big chunk of content. There are tons of quests here, ranging from level 30 to around level 45, with a couple of quests even higher than that, if I remember correctly. In addition, the quests, especially the Nessingwary hunting quests, had a great sense of progression as you leveled up, starting maybe with some level 30 mobs, then to some higher level 32s, and then 35s, and so on. So as you finished one round of quests, you would feel as though you were advancing and going forward. Furthermore, STV had some of the most engaging grinding spots in the game, as I recall. In particular, I remember hitting that early level 40s range where you're not quite high enough to go to Tenaris yet, but you're still mostly done with the quests of Stranglethorn Vale, with maybe just a few high-level ones remaining. So, I spent a couple levels grinding the pirates just outside of Booty Bay to get that sweet, sweet experience. The mobs were easy enough to pick off, and you had that safety net of Booty Bay bruisers close by if you were PvP flagged, so you could at least get your ganker killed too if you were lucky enough to get over there in time. Sure, you would die, but it would be worth it. There's also tons of other things that I loved, and still love about Stranglethorn Vale. The Gurubashi Arena event, the memory that I have of hitting level 40 and getting Shadow Form there right outside of Booty Bay, and the absolutely perfect jungle soundtrack of the zone. I mean, seriously, just listen to it. I'd be here for hours. So for now, I'll just finish by saying this. Stranglethorn Vale is, in my opinion, the absolute best Classic World of Warcraft zone. And I am super looking forward to playing it when I get to level 30 come Classic WoW. So, there you have it. Those are my favorite zones in World of Warcraft Classic. Looking back over my list, I noticed that I'm really invested in the zones that have Steamwoodle Cartel towns. Everlook, Booty Bay, Gadgetzan. I think that maybe that stems from the interaction that both Alliance and Horde players have together that occur there. Or maybe it's just a coincidence that these particular towns are placed in the most engaging zones. Either way, it's interesting to see for sure. And I really wonder how this measures up to other people's thoughts. I'm also really excited to main a Horde character this time around, to see how my thoughts change and evolve as I go through this adventure again. Anyway, that's it for now. I hope you found my top 5 list of zones interesting. But let me know what you think by leaving a comment down below. Subscribe to my channel for more content like this in the future, and hit me up on Facebook or Twitter for updates. You could also check out my blog over on Blogspot. But until next time, take it easy, guys.